Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. You are watching Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. Today, we are looking at pork marketing, the pig industry, where farmers are venturing into rearing pigs ahead of pork marketing. I'm standing within a pig pen, where, as you can see, we have porkers. Now, today, I want to look at the various processes that take place ahead from capturing it to the slaughterhouse up to cutting several parts and even several meats ahead of marketing. Stay tuned. At this point in time, we are here in an abattoir at Pig Industry Board, the regulator when it comes to issues surrounding pig industry, pork production, and even pig farmers who want to venture into piggery. Now, Ladicious, looking at the introduction and even the initial stages from capturing the pig from the pig pens up to this place, let us talk about sanitation and cleaning of the pig before you even slaughter it up until it gets into the refrigerator or the cold room.
Thank you, Wazanai. Our pigs, when they are delivered, in terms of sanitation, we are looking at the protection of our consumers. It is the health of the pigs that we are considering, so that at the end of the day, we are going to produce meat that is safe for human consumption. So as abattoirs, we follow certain laid down regulations. Our pigs, when they come for slaughter, they are first inspected in the field by the vets who offer them those vet movement permits. They will have inspected the pigs to ensure the pigs are safe for slaughter, which should translate to safety of our meat. The pigs are loaded well, they are cleaned before they come. Then when they come to the abattoirs, we slaughter them following the proper hygienic and humane methods of slaughter. And the meat is subjected to inspection. So after inspection, the inspector examines the meat and ensures that whatever is passed for human consumption is actually fit for consumption.
Let us look at cleaning the pigs for a smallholder farmer who doesn't have an abattoir, who doesn't have a cold room, who doesn't have a refrigerator, who's just saying from slaughtering, the company process here kuvura. What methods are there for slaughtering? That one which you use here as a formal abattoir, and another method that is available for communal or smallholder farmers.
Well, Wazanai, during slaughter of our pigs, for the removal of our hairs, we also do scalding. Scalding, that is, I think people are familiar with what they do with their chickens. They dip
plucking off the feathers?
Yes, they dip in hot water. That's scalding. The hot water, it facilitates the removal of the hairs. It also helps in eliminating a number of pathogens, because the water is heated to around 60 degrees Celsius, so at least it helps us that way. Then it aids in the removal of the hairs, because the hairs need to be removed. We also then use our knives to scrape off the hairs so that the pig comes out clean and nice for the consumer to enjoy the product.
After cleaning it, we are speaking of slicing it open, removing the intestines, removing the vitals. Are there any uses of those vitals that are inside of that is which inside? Is there anything that consumers can actually take home and cook? Is there anything which is edible within the stomach of the pig? I understand the pig engages with what we refer to as coprophagy, where it eats its own feces. So when it comes to the insides, what is in the bowel, the intestines, the vitals, is there anything that humans can consume?
Well, Wazanai, for the insides of the pig, we are saying normally we divide the inside of the pig into two. The bowels, we've got our thoracic cavity, the thorax. We also have our abdominal cavity. So from the thorax, that's where we derive what we in the abattoirs call clean offals. We are talking of the livers, the lungs, the hearts. Those are easily edible. Then from our abdominal cavity, that's where we have our intestines. Those are a bit tricky, but when well cleaned, some people may consume them. I should also tell you that there are certain communities like the Chinese, the Asians, they really make delicacies from the intestines. But with us, after cleaning them thoroughly, we might find them useful. But really, the intestines, they've got a very good commercial value. If we are able to make the casings, sausage casings out of them, that's where you really get a good commercial value. But I should be quick to point out that because the intestines contain the fecal matter, the things are loaded with bacteria, which is useful really when the animal is alive. But now when we're talking of meat, it might be a problem. So for people who want to make casings, it is advisable that they have all the facilities so that they clean them thoroughly, they process them well, so that the casings are really fit for that use.
Okay, looking at the exterior of the pig before we go on to slice different parts, I understand that the exterior gives us meat in the form of trotters, the head, maybe, I don't know if a part of the tail is consumable, the ears or whatever. Let us begin with the head. What kind of meat can we get from the head? How do you separate the meat from the brains, from the fluids? How do you take care of the pig head to ensure that it is consumable, it is not contaminated?
Well, the pig head can be a delicacy again. What we normally do is just to slice it up. When it's well sliced, it can be stewed, and a very good stew pork head can come out of it. But however, we can also make some other products out of it. Those, I think we can talk about that when you come to the value addition section.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Maho, for that. On that note, we've come to the end of the first segment. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. Now, viewers, I encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer, Wadzanai Manyore, so 0772807506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Make a follow-up on this episode and more on our YouTube channel, is Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We are also now available on X, formerly known as Twitter, where we have a vibrant, thriving community. It's at Agribusiness 110. On LinkedIn, we have a growing community where most of these discussions do take place. Our profile is at Wadzanai Manyore. Now, earlier on for the break, we were speaking of the part of the pig, of the pork, which is the head, which Ladisha here was alluding to the fact that it can be a delicacy, especially for our Asian friends, the Chinese. Ladisha, we are here in the second segment. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, in line with our mantra in agriculture of food security every day and everywhere, I understand that we also have communal farmers, subsistence farmers, who might be having maybe 2 pigs, 3 pigs, 5 pigs. That person surely cannot travel to an abattoir to have their pork or their pig slaughtered for family consumption, and a few that he might sell to his neighbors or her neighbors. Let us talk about those regulations. The people, the law enforcers who have been put within our societies to ensure that when it comes to the consumption of pork and pig production, there are regulations that farmers need to adhere to. There are trainings that are taking place to ensure that people are consuming clean pork.
Yes, Wadzanai. Really, we have people at even village level that can assist our farmers when they are slaughtering their pigs or there are any other animals for their own consumption. We really would want people to derive good health meat from their animals. So we have got from the Ministry of Health, we have some health technicians that our village people can work with, who are stationed right at the people. So those guys can help us. When we are slaughtering our animals, we've got in the rural areas, in the rural setup, what we call slaughter poles. These are managed by the environmental health technicians or the veterinary technicians. They assist us in establishing healthy environments to slaughter our few animals, even for human consumption. And they also assist us in looking at the animals, examining the meat to ensure that even at household, we are consuming meat that is really safe for human consumption.
Now, looking at the pork after it has been slaughtered, it's now a pig that is headed for slicing or cutting it into different pieces. I understand that there are certain things that you can pick or indicators that can say this pig was properly fed, this pig did not have pathogens or parasites within it. Let us talk about the indicators that you, as someone who's seasoned in pig production, can say after slaughter, this pig was suffering from a certain disease. What do we look at after slaughter?
Well, I thank you. Now we are saying for all animals that find their way in the commercial setup, we are talking of now people buying meat. We are now in the commercial setup. We have got people in the abattoirs who are going to do their work to ensure that what gets into the market is correct. So to our general public, we are saying to you, look out for these things. If you are buying meat, if it has gone through an abattoir, it is going to be the roller mark.
Okay.
This will tell you, yes, the roller mark will tell you the origin. It talks of the particular abattoir that is slaughtered the animal. It also indicates the grade that has been given to the animal. So the government has put in place mechanisms to ensure that at every abattoir there are inspectors who does the inspection to ensure that only sound and safe meat is available for sale. And there are also government graders who give the particular grade to the animal, so that an animal is graded accordingly. That is when they are looking now at the things like the quality issues. Now, when you talk of an animal that is well fed, it should be able to attain the proper grade. But we are not ruling out even those which have lower grades. They are accorded their own grades so that they are sold at the respective prices. So at the end of the day, our consumers or our buyers are going to buy the grade respectively according to its value.
Okay, looking now at the carcass, aside from the external parts that I've highlighted, the head, the trotters, the legs, let us start with the upper body. What sort of parts are we going to derive? Roughly, the market price that they are going to fetch, what is it? What is it like per each part? I understand that we have got pork loins, pork chops, ribs, whatever. Let us look at the certain parts and the price that they are likely to fetch in US dollars when they are taken to the market.
Thank you, Azanai. Looking at our pig carcass, like this one, pig doesn't have more complicated parts. Yeah. Okay. You're looking at this. That's the trotters, okay. The hook and trotter and shank. The hind leg, it forms the leg of pork. Okay. Then on the back there, this is what we call the loin. Okay. The pork loin. That's where we derive our pork lovely pork chops.
Pork chops. Okay.
Yes, pork loin chops.
Okay.
All right. And the lower part is where we get our belly pork. Okay. Nice for your braise and sometimes the rolled pork, good for your grilling. Yeah. Okay. We also have our spare ribs coming from just under the belly there. Then we have our shoulder chops or pork shoulder. That's where we can make our shoulder chops. Yeah. And the trotters. Then the head that you've been talking about. Okay,
now we are standing within a butchery where after slaughtering, after cutting pieces, you are putting on display for sale. After we come back from the break, I want us to look at rough estimates of the prices according to each part, the pork leg, the belly fat, the trotters. Roughly what are they going for, so that we fulfill the mandate of this program, agribusiness, which speaks to production economics and issues surrounding marketing. Stay tuned. Thank you, Theo, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. Today we are looking at the pig industry, how pork is processed, how it is made. And in the third segment, we often reserve it for issues surrounding market trends, market prices, how to capture your market and maintain it. At this point in time, Mr. Mahobo, I want us to look at the parts of the pig and the pricing. Roughly in Zimbabwe at the moment, how much are the spare ribs going for? How much is the pork leg going for? How much is the belly fat, the head, the trotters per kilogram? Roughly what are we looking at in terms of prices?
Well, truly speaking, our prices range. Normally, it's with locations. You will find that if you go into the upscale market, you find the huge prices. If you go to the medium, it's in the middle. And if you go onto our low-end markets, prices, they try to charge low. But generally, like we are saying, on a pig carcass, ribs are the most expensive in most cases.
Okay.
You find them ranging from about $8 to around $15, $17, even $20, depending really on the location.
And roughly a pig, a well-fed pig, how many kilograms of spare ribs can it give a farmer?
For a pig like about 50 kgs, you might only get about 1.2 kilograms. Maybe if you are like 1.5 kgs.
Oh, that's why they are very expensive.
Ribs. That's why they are expensive. Yeah. Then followed mostly by the loin chops, popularly known as the pork chops.
Okay.
This which have a T-bone shape.
Yes.
Yeah, most preferred by our caterers. In the ranges of $5 to about $10, depending on the
And roughly,
location.
how many kilograms of those loin chops constitute the entire pig?
We are talking of about 20% of the
whole pig.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to maybe the belly fillet.
Then the leg. The leg is also is one of the most yielding. The legs, the hams. You realize that a pig puts on most of its flesh on the legs.
Okay.
So that's where you get the bulk of your meat, the leg and the shoulders. Normally legs and shoulders, they are almost the same prices in most cases. Yeah, you find them in the ranges of $4 to about $8 per kilo. Yes. Then the belly, it depends really on how it is dressed. Sometimes if we leave our ribs on the belly, the spare rib, if you cut it on the belly, the belly becomes very expensive, sometimes even more than the loins. But when we've decided to take off the spare rib from our belly, it then fetches a little bit lower, but close to the leg and the shoulder as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mawo. Now, looking at the various classes of pigs, I understand that we begin from porkers up to that which goes for manufacturing. Let us talk about those classes and roughly the kilograms of the pig within those classes. If it's porkers, how many kilograms are we looking at? What in terms of pricing, what are we looking at? If it's begoners, if it's manufacturing pigs, what are we looking at, beginning with every name of each class?
Thank you, Azanai. The classes that we have in our pork, if a porker or if a pig after slaughter dresses below 35 kgs CDM, when you say CDM, we are talking of cold dressed mass. If it's 35 and below, it is classified as an under porker. Okay. Then for the class of porkers, we are now talking of 35 to below 65 kgs. Those are in the range of a porker. And 65 up to 90, we are now talking of baconers. And above 90, but below 104, we are talking of what we call the general purpose pigs. Then 105 and above, we are now talking of manufacturing pigs.
Looking at the production of pork, Mr. Mawo, at which class would you advise Zimbabwean farmers to begin slaughtering?
Thank you, Wazanai. On that note, Wazanai, the most important thing for a farmer is to consider is the target market.
Okay.
What is it that they want? What is it that they are prepared to pay more for? So we would say, if somebody is targeting the fresh pork market, we are talking of those people who just want to consume their pork fresh as it is, after drying, grilling, or whatever, you know. The fresh pork market, they are looking mostly for the porkers and baconers. It has been the porkers mostly, but the trend is shifting towards baconers. The market is now preferring baconers on the fresh market. It's all because the appearance of the chop is so nice, it's big and looking nice. So we are saying For those who are targeting the fresh pork, go for your porkers, especially the heavier porkers and the baconers. Then if you are looking at people who want to do some manufacturing, that's when you now talk of the general purpose pigs. But general purpose pigs, normally, they then start fetching lower. And for the manufacturing pigs, we are saying to our farmers, if you have got your pigs that are in your production head, we are talking of those production sows, production bulls. When you are doing what they call culling or removing them from production, that's when you are going to sell the manufacturing. Now you need to look for people who are in processing so that you sell the product to them, then they are able to pay better.
Finally, as we close this segment, we've come to the end of our episode. I want us to talk about the importance of proper nutrition and proper use of chemicals to control diseases, pathogens, insect pests, in terms of ensuring that you are producing quality pork, which also brings in revenue to a farmer.
Thank you, Azanai. Let me be quick to point out that it is very important for our farmers to try and adhere to recommended husbandry methods. We start talking of penning their pigs. It is really of paramount importance. If you move around the country, you might see pigs roaming around, roaming the streets, roaming the growth points, scrounging for feed. That is not really appropriate. Yeah, you end up having pigs sometimes consuming even human excreta.
Exactly.
And when that happens, that's when we start having problems with some tapeworms, and we have those things that we call pork measles. That then would affect our consumers. So it's really of paramount importance that we try and pen our animals, feed them the correct diets, the correct feed recommended by our agronomists.
Okay.
Right. So we are saying people should come to like pig industry board, get their training on how to best rear their animals. A well-reared animal, a well-fed animal will produce you good quality meat, and also it is going to yield good in terms of your weights. You get very good weights which are economical. Even if you're going to sell it, even if you're going to consume it, you get good number of kgs from your pig. Also, we have our veterinarians who also recommend or who also teach us on how to administer certain drugs to our animals in case they are sick. We really need to ensure that we are using the right chemicals, the right drugs, and using them in the right quantities, the proper way. We are also in the meat industry much concerned about what they call the withdrawal periods, Wazanai. There are certain chemicals that have prescribed the withdrawal periods. What we are saying is, if you've administered a given chemical, you are not allowed then to slaughter your animals before the withdrawal period is elapsed, because the chemical is still active in the meat, so the consumers will get to be affected if they consume the meat in that state. So it is really of paramount importance, after administering chemicals, let's ensure that we adhere to the withdrawal periods.
There you heard it, viewers. From me also, the name I'm also on Instagram. It's at Wadzi110. Today we're looking at pork production, how we come up with the various sizes and cuts for our consumption. It was a pleasure having us today. Thank you for watching.